It's Sunday morning with Mark Sainsbury.
Welcome back. Now, our next guest is someone many of you listeners will be familiar with, Dr. Harold Hillman. He's a leadership expert. Went to Harvard University. He's also a clinical psychologist. He's worked both all around the world, dealing with all the top people, including here in New Zealand. And if you have a look at his resume, it's really quite interesting. He was the chief aviation psychologist at Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. He was assistant professor and director of the leadership program at the US Air Force Academy. And Dr. Harold Hillman joins us now. Welcome to Sunday Mornings, Harold.
Good morning, Mark.
Hey, listen, tell me, you're a leadership expert. How much leadership has Malaysian Airlines or the Malaysian government been showing over the last couple of weeks?
Look, I think that it ties into this whole phenomenon around imposter syndrome, which is a pretty common phenomenon in the face of a step-up opportunity, or in the case of Malaysian Airlines, in the face of a particular crisis, you begin to doubt your own competence and capability and begin to feel like a fraud. So it does sort of make sense that given that the world's eyes have been on Malaysia, they were probably more inclined to want to appear to be in control, and therefore perhaps reluctant to reach out to other nations that had greater technical capability or the span or scope to be able to provide better data, just in the sense of not wanting to relinquish the appearance of being in control, I think.
But if you don't want to relinquish the appearance, you're going to end up stuffing it up, can't you? Because if its appearance is what you're after, reality is going to catch up with you sooner or later.
Absolutely. It does begin to work against you, particularly when there are contradictory statements that come out. Several days ago, the Malaysian government declared that the plane was down and lost, and likely no survivors. But yet just yesterday, the Malaysian transport minister said that they're still holding out hope that there will still be people to rescue. And so when you are inclined not to reveal information as you know it, you end up working, as you said, working against your own objective, and that is confusing other people.
Are they saying things like, because I found that staggering, saying, look, we still hold out hope. I mean, let's face it, we all know that as much as we'd love it to be so, it is not going to happen.
Exactly.
But is he saying that because he feels some urge to please or to give some hope to the families, even though it's totally unrealistic?
I'm sure that's the case. And, I'm sure that the Malaysian government really wants to extend hope. Look, it's a tough call for them because with each day that passes, we do give out less hope. But it does, for the family members, send a very conflicting message. And again, I just think that the consistency of message during this time frame is very important. And I think that the pressure associated with needing to get it right probably has caused them to fumble a few things.
Look, if they rang you up and they said, look, Dr. Hillman, get over here as fast as you can, we need some help, what would you be telling them to do?
Yeah, I would just tell them to avail themselves to the technology and the capability of nations that want to help. I think that what happened was, even though the rest of the world began to track the plane in a different direction, there were a few days in there where the Malaysian government just sort of held fast to its own story. Again, the need to sort of feel in control. But I would advise them to open this up and to let the world community help. That's beginning to happen now. But to get back on the front foot with respect to fronting this scenario here, the Malaysian government has been largely inconsistent. And I think that's the thing that, in a leadership capacity, inconsistency will derail you pretty much every time.
Look, it's not just the Malaysian government and Malaysian Airlines you've been critical of. It's us. It's the news media. Because all the speculation that's swirled around, you think is unnecessary.
Well, I just think it's in the absence of tangible data, human beings just tend to put their own mental frame around things. That's just how we operate, and very often it's quite speculative. It can be quite negative, and so I think that that's natural. My concern is been that we try to contain that, certainly largely out of respect for the families, but also it can send us on horrendous goose chases, if you will, if we aren't really coordinating and trying to track as consistently as possible.
Dr. Harold Hillman, we hope to hear more of you during the year. Thank you so much for your observations this morning. Great to talk.
Thank you, Mark.
That, of course, was Dr. Harold Hillman. He wrote The Imposter Syndrome. He really is. He's a top-notch expert on leadership, and his observations are absolutely fascinating. Now, look,